handle a lot more. Okay, so let's start off with Mackenzie Height, Mack. Interestingly enough, I only met Mack less than a year ago. So this was first summer session last May, so almost a year ago, and Mack was in my summer version of my Introduction to Hinduism class. And this was his first religious studies class. So you can imagine, Mack is also a double major. He's in English, and clearly he quickly gravitated to the subject, had a very keen interest in the kind of questions that were being raised. This whole class is about making the strange familiar and the familiar strange, and Mack really excelled at that. He proceeded to take 2 other courses from Professor Kirsch in the next summer session. So Maggie and I kind of high-five ourselves for bringing in a religious studies major this quickly. So basically, Mack has spent his entire senior year pretty much living and breathing religious studies to get that major done. So I've had a chance to have him both semesters this year and get to know him pretty well, which has been really a pleasure for me. So he took my yoga and tantra class, as well as this semester magic, science, and religion, and did a fascinating final project on Kundalini, this particular meditational form. But in the context of this magic, science, and religion class, he was essentially raising questions about pretty big picture questions about the nature of reality in different cultural contexts, what can and can't be experienced based on the kind of culture that you're living in, the assumptions that you're bringing to the table. And it was just an example of the kind of work that Mack's capable of: bold, creative, provocative, and it's the kind of work that makes me confident that Mack is very seriously considering going to graduate school for religious studies here. And that's not something, it's a tough job market in our field, so it's not something that we sort of give our seal of approval of from any students. We want to make sure that someone's cut out for it, and Mack is someone who is. And I'm excited for Mack in a number of other ways. He is just a couple days from now flying to India, where he'll be spending 3 months. He'll be doing, with our own Professor McLaughlin, a summer program in Bangalore and Goa. From there, he'll be traveling south and then north around Delhi, and then up into the Kulu Valley in the Himalayan foothills, where he'll be really in the Himalayas, where he'll be doing another program, an archaeology-based program. So I'm excited for him for this, huge dose of India. I'm actually a little jealous. He's going to get to see all kinds of stuff that, despite all my time spent in India, I haven't got to see, that he's going to get to see. And he's going to come back with a whole lot of new perspective. And then he's going to take a little time to figure things out before we do that grad school application. But before I wrap this up so we can talk about these other graduates, I should say that, these students' lives here, we know them most especially as religious studies students in our classes, right? And so we can speak to that the best. But we've also made efforts to try to get to know them beyond that. And their lives are certainly not just as students here in 4 years at William & Mary. And Mack was on the cross-country team here at William & Mary, which is a pretty big deal. It's a very competitive team for 2 years. And then got really involved in the Appalachian Music Ensemble, something that's been a big part of his life in the last couple of years here. And he plays guitar and mandolin, and I've heard his little section of the ensemble, and they're pretty kick-ass. They're really good. Mack's also got he's developed an interest in painting, so he's got both the scholarly and the artistic going strong. And Mack, I'm proud of you. Congratulations.